Last time around, I compared the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra with the Realme GT6 and showed you that while the Edge 50 Ultra is a good phone, it's a nice phone, but when compared to the Realme GT6, the Realme GT6 is a better phone both in terms of price as well as performance. Of course, the Realme GT6 has a significantly larger battery than the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra, which also gives it a clear edge. But what happens when the Edge 50 Ultra goes against a phone that has somewhat of a similar battery capacity? Hello everyone, I'm Neha for Fiiber by India Today and welcome to the battery drain test comparison between the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra versus the Xiaomi 14 Civi. Now on your screens are the key specifications of both phones side by side, and they both have advantages and disadvantages over one another. For instance, while Xiaomi has an adaptive 120Hz refresh rate AMOLED screen with 12-bit colors and 3000 nits peak brightness, Motorola has a higher 144Hz refresh rate plastic OLED screen, albeit with 10-bit colors. While Xiaomi has an IR blaster, Motorola has an official IP68 rating. You can choose which one's important for you. Battery capacity is also more or less the same, with Xiaomi having the bigger 4700 mAh cell with 67 watt wired charging, but Motorola with its 4500 mAh battery has 125 watt wired charging support and 50 watt wireless charging support. Camera hardware wise, both phones are packed to the gills, but Xiaomi does have a dual front facing camera system. Of course, above all else is the price difference between both phones. The Motorola Edge 50 Ultra is 7,000 rupees more expensive than the 14 Civi's equivalent variant. So is the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra worth the extra cash, or should you save your money and instead go for the Xiaomi 14 Civi if performance and battery life are two of the key selling points for you while getting a new smartphone? Now, before we go any further, consider hitting the red subscribe button for detailed tech videos and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. With that said, let's get started. As always, we kick off by booting up both devices, and they boot neck to neck. So both phones on the table have light mode enabled and are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. The brightness and audio are set at 50% manual, a vivid color profile is set, and all the image and video enhancement settings are enabled. Despite the Motorola having a 144Hz refresh rate, I have set both phones on 120Hz mode, and of course, both phones' batteries are 100% charged. Alright, we start off with the 2-hour YouTube video playback round, and right off the bat, both displays are top-notch to say the least. Of course, when you consider the 12-bit colors of the 14 Civi, you might think the color reproduction of the panel would be richer than the Motorola's, at least on paper. Well, I would say specs aside, 12-bit or 10-bit, both look quite identical, and no doubt both displays are pretty vibrant and have deep contrast. Even brightness wise, using both phones outdoors shouldn't be a problem, but yes, if I have to pick one between the two, I think for the less pronounced curves and the symmetrical bezels, I will go with Xiaomi's display. But also, the Xiaomi here has an adaptive refresh rate panel, meaning in practice it should be more efficient, all while adjusting the screen's refresh rate according to the content that's playing. That said, Motorola's display is also not bad. In fact, it is gorgeous, but side by side, again, very identical displays. And for the less money, I don't know, the Xiaomi 14 Civi does give you more value. However, that iPhone-like notch, which is pretty functional because of the dual cameras, is an eyesore. Rest, what do you guys think based on watching this clip right now? I think going with either phones shouldn't be a problem, but yes, the Motorola does cost you more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, we are done with the YouTube video playback round, and while I set up for the next round, quickly the battery statistics, and the Xiaomi 14 Civi has taken the lead here with 90% battery left, while the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra is now left with 87% battery. With that, it is now time to run an hour of 1080p video recording, and while both phones are at it, here's a look at the camera specifications of both devices. The Xiaomi 14 Civi features Leica-tuned triple rear cameras comprising a 50 megapixel primary camera with OIS, a 12 megapixel ultra-wide angle camera, and a 50 megapixel telephoto camera. At the front, there are two 32 megapixel snapper for selfies. For video recording, the rear camera can shoot up to 4K 60 FPS videos, while the front supports up to 4K 30 FPS videos. The Motorola Edge 50 Ultra also features a triple rear camera system comprising a 50 megapixel primary OIS camera, a 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 64 megapixel telephoto lens and a 50 megapixel snapper at the front for selfies. In terms of video recording, both the rear camera and the front camera support up to 4K 60 FPS recording. Now here are some of the comparison photos of the Xiaomi 14 Civi and the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra side by side. Now the Edge 50 Ultra does take good photos and videos for its price. In fact, even the Xiaomi 14 Civi takes nice and vibrant shots, although when it comes to photos of human subjects, the Xiaomi does seem to beautify somewhat despite the setting being turned off. Overall, again, great cameras on both the smartphones. Rest, what do you guys think of the photos? Let me know in the comments. With that, we are done with the 1080p video recording round, and the Xiaomi 14 Civi is still in the lead with 68% battery left, but the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra is now right behind with 67% battery left. Alrighty, it's now time to run some benchmarks to get an idea if both phones are put under heavy loads in the real world, which one is going to give the better endurance. First up, the specs. The Xiaomi 14 Civi is powered by the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor paired with up to 12GB LPDDR5X RAM and up to 512GB UFS 4.0 storage. The Motorola Edge 50 Ultra is also powered by the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 SoC and comes in a single 12GB LPDDR5X RAM with 512GB UFS 4.0 storage. Now starting with Geekbench 6, and both single core and multi-core performance, both phones record a solid showing with both registering 5000 plus scores in the multi-core performance. In Antutu as well, the scores are very close with Motorola taking the slight lead, but nonetheless a 1.4 million plus score is still pretty good. Now in the 3D Mark stress test, until the last time against the Realme GT6, this time around Motorola performed decently with a 71.6% stability score, but Xiaomi takes the lead here with a better stability score in the gaming benchmark, registering 80.4% on the board. Lastly, in the CPU throttle test, once again good performance by the Motorola compared to last time, but Xiaomi easily takes the win here in the final benchmark test. So here are the benchmark scores of both phones on your screens right now. You can pause and take a look. So 4 hours are gone into the testing, and surprise, surprise, the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra is now in the lead with 40% battery left, while the Xiaomi 14 Civi is now trailing with 34% battery left. So you just saw the dip in Xiaomi's battery, right? A round ago, it was leading, but once put under heavy load, the battery level dropped fast. And this is what I also noticed in my testing. You see, for general tasks like using the phone for normal stuff, calling, social media, browsing and all, both are good, and the battery optimization is also fine on both. However, in between the two, when it comes to playing hard-hitting games or even say putting a heavy load on the phones, the Xiaomi 14 Civi battery does drop significantly faster than the Motorola Edge 50 Ultras. I would also point out that both phones also get quite warm under load, because of which I did notice some throttling while doing long sessions of gaming on both. However, for what it's worth, the Xiaomi 14 Civi can play 90 FPS in BGMI versus 60 FPS on the Motorola. So if playing BGMI is a high priority, the 14 Civi is your best bet. But down the line, the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra should also get 90 FPS BGMI support, because ultimately the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset supports it. So Motorola just needs to push out a patch for this. And with that, we're done with the gaming round as well, and the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra is still in the lead with a 28% battery left, while the Xiaomi 14 Civi is now left with a 23% battery. With that, we are in the last leg of our battery drain test comparison. I will now run an hour of Instagram on both smartphones here, but without keeping you waiting until the last minute, I'm going to fast forward to the 6 hours mark. And with that, the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra finishes with 20% battery left, while the Xiaomi 14 Civi finishes with 15% battery left. Here's an hour by hour breakdown of the battery drain of both phones on your screens right now. So looking at the battery chart, it is clear that the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra did trump over the 14 Civi by a good margin, despite having a 200 mAh smaller battery. But again, if both phones had bigger batteries than what they have right now, at least 5000 mAh too, the story would have been different. And as we all know, both of these phones don't have the biggest batteries in the segment. However, if we talk in terms of performance, and if you're someone who is considering a phone between these two specifically, again, let me explain a bit. So there's a good enough price difference between both the smartphones, and either way, both phones are solid and won't let you down, be it in terms of camera performance, gaming performance and the likes, no doubt about it. But if you decide to go for the Motorola, yes, you have the advantage of better durability thanks to IP68 rating and fast wired and wireless charging. However, for the less price, if you don't mind missing these features, the Xiaomi 14 Civi is an equally solid deal, because overall for the sub 5000 mAh batteries on both, the endurance is just about okay according to 2024 standards for slab smartphones. Also, if sheer endurance is all you're looking for in your next smartphone, the Realme GT6 with its 5500 mAh battery is better than both of these, but that's a story for a different time. By the way, let me know if you want to see a separate battery drain test video between the Realme GT6 and the Xiaomi 14 Civi. For now, what are your thoughts about both these smartphones basis on this battery drain test video? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiiber. I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.